I can't remember when or how old I was, but I do remember the old man who everyone said was crazy. All the boys spying from the clubhouse. He must be psycho. Look at how he sits there, they said. Look at how he just stares into the water. It was a war, they'd whisper knowingly. It was down on the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Just 2 miles from the base. Just 2 miles. They were so close they could hear the helicopter's blades whirling, whipping the jungle around like a tornado. Closer and closer and closer. Closer and closer. They were almost there. And then blam! His best friend got blown to hell by a landmine. Gone forever, like that. And they were almost there. They said he was crazy. All the teenagers smoking in their hangout. Crazy for still holding on, for clutching so tightly onto those years as he clutched the water's grassy edge down by the pond. It's so far in the past, man. Hey, man, give it up. You've lived 1,000,000 years. A few bad ones shouldn't screw everything up. Hey, idiot, just give it up. But he still held on, and they lowered their voices again. You know, they say he grabs the grass so tightly because he thinks it's his friend's hand, and he doesn't want to let go. Not this time. They said he was crazy. All the 40-year-olds marshaling their kids, setting up their picnics across the pond. He always sticks his feet in the water. At his age, he's liable to get sick. Shouldn't he take his feet out? I don't think he's moved for ages. He's so still. Wait, can you see it? He's so still there's a little frog nestling between his toes. Disgusting. How can he live like that? Hey, honey, will you go over and tell him to take his feet out? Tell him to put on some shoes? And then she drew close to my ear and whispered, his eyes aren't even open. Oh my God, maybe he's dead. Maybe he was. And I, of course, still had to go ask him if he could put on some shoes. I really don't remember when, but they said he was crazy. Everyone I can remember. They all said he was psycho, just sitting down by the pond, with Lord knows what thoughts twisting through his mind. Well, these were my thoughts as I stood above him. Sir, excuse me? I waited for an eternity for him to give me an answer. He gave me one, but not until I was much older myself. He didn't even open his eyes. He just ripped one hand free of the soil, like a root dragged from the earth, and waved me down to a nice spot of grass, right next to him, down by the pond. I can't remember when, but I know they said he was crazy, sitting down by the pond all day, dreaming centuries-old dreams. I couldn't help wondering what he was thinking, or that, maybe, he was just thinking what I was. How cool the soil felt on your hands. How you have to dig in deep, not to hold on to some shrapnel memory, but to hold on to that grassy slope, so much steeper than it had appeared from the hangout. Or maybe he was thinking of how relaxing the water is on sun-browned feet, or how nice the frogs are when you let them nestle between your toes. Just the little ones, mind you. The bigger ones have grown a bit jaded, you know. Besides, they couldn't fit very well in between your toes. I just sat there, though, until I knew he wasn't crazy, until I heard him creak beside me, his eyes appearing like an axe blade splitting the old cedar knot of his face, while his lips crinkled open like rustling leaves, hit by the tornado of a rising helicopter down on the Ho Chi Minh Trail. And he spoke, "You know, you remind me of someone I met on the Ho Chi Minh Trail. We were only 2 miles from base, 2 miles. We ran closer and closer, closer and closer. We were almost there, and then bam, he got bit by a snake. He just never was the same, had some real bad aches the rest of his life. He sent me a postcard from back home, you know, and told me about this pond, how nice the soil was, how cool the water was, and how sitting here made all his aches go away. But I discovered the frogs all by myself." And in that instant, I recognized the old man. I told you he wasn't crazy. I could see it in his green eyes. We sat there for a long time. I didn't bother to keep track. It didn't matter anymore. We just closed our eyes and dreamt of the sun, dreamt of her light shining over different lands, different dreams, different paths our lives could have taken. I thought of the old man, and I placed him into the story of my life. I said, "You know, you remind me of someone I lost on the Ho Chi Minh Trail. We were just 2 miles away from base. 2 miles. We were so close, closer and closer. We were almost there. But he stepped on a landmine and was blown to hell." I held his hand to comfort him in those endless moments, and it felt something like this soil. I nestled his bloody body in my arms, and it felt something like the frog and the water. I turned to him to catch his reaction, to see his green eyes once again, but he was gone, and I was alone down by the pond. I don't think I'm crazy, despite what the generations may say. I just sit here by this pond and think, and listen to all their whispers, with my hands rooted deeply in the earth. But mostly I wonder about the frog nestled between my toes. I wonder what happens when he grows, why he becomes so jaded. I sense it's because of something in between our perception and the truth, when our reality gets bitten by a belief. Somewhere in between idealism and pain, in between, say, a snake bite and a landmine, I think I'll find my answer. So I keep on searching in between my toes. And in case you're wondering, in case you're whispering in the treehouse, this is what I think about down by the pond. If you care to come down and sit by me and look into my green eyes, maybe you'll see something reflect back. Maybe you'll change the way you remember your life. Maybe you'll realize that you were never blown to hell, and that all your aches are just snake bites. Or maybe, just maybe, you'll find an entirely new past, listening to this wind that sounds so much like a helicopter whipping a tornado through the trees down on the Ho Chi Minh Trail. And maybe, just maybe, you'll see the answer in my eyes, tinted green by the confused contentment of the young frogs down by the pond.